Maybe have the second guest on the panel, Dr. M.V.N. Reddy, to speak.
Yes, respected faculty and then the students. I am asked Basel 3. How many of you heard about Basel 1 and 2 before going into Basel 3? Very few. I think you know that Basel 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3 whatever. 4 I think not yet come. So Basel 3 implementation going to be started. But thing is, what is Basel 1? Basel 1 is the difference between Basel 1, Basel 2 and Basel 3. Before that, what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of the Basel 1, 2 or 3? To provide okay, the thing basically the sound banking principles, the purpose of BCPS, Banking Committee of Banking Supervision, Basel Committee of Banking Supervision is there. But basically the purpose is sound banking principles. For that, one is liquidity, another one is capital. These two things people talk about it. So here under Basel 3, two issues they discussed. One is with regards to capital, another one is with regards to liquidity. For the capital, basically Basel 1 and 2 talks about capital. Asset liability management came separately, but actually Basel 1 and 2 talks about capital only. In this capital, so in the capital adequacy ratio, I think capital adequacy ratio you must have heard.
Yes, sir.
What is the formula of capital adequacy ratio? Yeah, right. Capital divided by risk-weighted assets. What do you mean by risk-weighted assets? What do you mean by risk-weighted assets? The thing is for risk-weighted assets. So in the balance sheet, if you just see asset side, all the assets, you'll be assigned some weight based on their risk perspective. That is the risk-weighted assets. So that weights I simply do it like say like this. The numerator is capital, denominator is RWA, risk-weighted assets. Is it not? Under Basel 1, okay, what are the capital definitions are there and RWA definitions are there. Under Basel 1, RWA is 100% for everything. All the exposures of credit especially, 100%. But I think in the balance sheet, I did not go into the details of the balance sheet. I think the time constraints is also there. The thing is, the investments, basically the asset side, if you just see, the advances, investments, and other assets. These are the basic important assets. In that, what are the advances? For all the advances, the risk-weighted asset, the 100% is the risk weight for all the advances under Basel 1. Under Basel 2, that means I am talking about the denominator. I am not talking about the numerator now. And under denominator, risk-weighted assets. Under risk-weighted assets, all the assets will be there, will be weighted. So under this, advances 100% risk weight. For investments, some of the government securities 0% risk weight are ranging from very little, maximum 10%. Even non-SLR, it is 20% risk weight. So that means mostly it is 100% risk weight for across. That means for advances, even investments also, the non-SLR investments also 100% risk weight. So that is the Basel 1. Under Basel 2, what it said, again under denominator only I will talk about. Under denominator, instead of giving 100% risk weight for everything, they divided into 14 asset classes, different asset classes. Under each asset class, they are assigned some risk weight. Instead of giving 100% for everything, they are given different risk weights for different asset classes based on the risk perception again. That is the under Basel. Under that again, under Basel II, there are rating. The rating perception. The rating perception means for any asset, for example, credit. Credit, there will be external rating. That external rating, if it is there, that risk weight will come down. So these are another thing is there in Basel. Under Basel I, that is not there. No credit rating. Credit rating, there is no. Maybe credit rating will be there for our particular purpose of our assessment of the credit. But thing is, for the purpose of capital purposes, it is the credit rating is introduced in Basel II. External credit rating. They introduced the external credit rating initially, and then under Basel II itself, they said that it will go to the internal credit rating as for advanced approaches. That's the issue. The next thing is the credit rating perspective is there, and then asset classes have come. So the denominator is more enlarged, and also three pillars approach. I think you must have heard about three pillars. What are the pillars? No, okay. I think time is not there. I will not go into the thing is number one, pillars means number one is capital. Three pillars is capital actually. The Basel total thing is capital requirements is pillar one. Supervisory approach is pillar two. And market discipline is pillar three. These are the three pillars actually. So all these things, capital adequacy ratio, I am talking about only about this capital divided by assets. That means only pillar one only. I am talking about the pillar one only. Oh, I think still not yet gone to Basel III. Okay. So that means now under numerator, the thing is numerator is capital. So under capital, there are tier 1 capital, tier 2 capital. Have you heard? Yes. Tier 1 capital is equity and tier 2 capital is instruments. Instruments basically borrowing instruments. I mean, people are just terming it as capital. But the thing is a borrowing, basically a borrowing. Then under Basel III, what they say, what they done? They are not touched much about denominator. They talked about numerator. Why they talked about numerator only? Well, okay, if people talk about, I think practitioners like we know that so Basel III is, I think I consider that Basel III concept is quite simple compared to the Basel II. Basel II is more exhaustive because risk weight classification is more difficult, and also at the a lot of approaches they said under Basel II that they kept that means the denominator aspect of is same even for Basel III. Even for Basel III, risk weight classification, everything is same. Only numerator capital definitions changed. Under capital definitions, the problem with regards to international scenario is, so pillar 1, pillar 2, I'm sorry, tier 1 and tier 2 capital. Tier 1, tier 2 capital. Under tier 1 capital, that is equity, basically in the Indian conditions. Tier 1 is capital, is equity. And then tier 2 capital is some instruments are there. Have you heard about the instruments? Under three conditions at least? Any instrument? Have you heard about any instrument? Which one? Certificate? Certificate to buy? No, I'm not talking. there are some instruments which can be raised and it can be considered as you can purchase a borrowing instrument. So a bond, what type of bond?
ट्रेजरी बिल
No,
ये अभी
no,
तो
no.
टाइम है, तू जा रही है?
Subordinate debt. Have you heard about subordinate debt?
मेरा भी मन नहीं है जाने का.
Subordinate debt. That is a capital instrument. That can be considered as a capital if you just purchase and keep it there. But there are rules of the game, of course. How much you have to take it, the percentage of the total Tier 1 capital that is there. And there are another thing is Tier 1 instruments are there and Tier 2 instruments are there. But of course, under Indian conditions, Tier 1 instruments, only two instruments are there: IPDA, Innovative Perpetual Debt Instrument. Very few banks have taken. Very limited amount has been taken. And then PNCPS, Perpetual Non-Cumulative Preference Shares. That is no market in the Indian conditions, and only Government of India provided for to some of the banks. These are the two Tier 1 instruments. Tier 2 are the subordinate debts, just subordinate debts. So that means here under international scenario, the equity was limited. Equity was limited, and instruments were huge. So basically, big banks like JP Morgan Chase or Citibank, maybe hardly they will be having 2% of their total risk-weighted assets, equity capital. Whereas, of course, Indian conditions, why people were talking about Indian conditions are better? Because 8% Tier 1 capital, most of the banks are having. Tier 1 capital means we don't have much instruments actually for under Tier 1. The instruments, the banks having the Tier 1 instruments are quite limited. And even market size are not that much is there. That's why most of the Indian banks are dependent on equity only for Tier 1 compared to the international banks. Under Tier 2, under Tier 2, this subordinate debt and then upper Tier 2. These two instruments are there, very popular in Indian conditions. So most of the banks took those instruments for the purpose of the Tier 2. Under this, actually, under Indian conditions, the average capital adequacy ratio at present is around 12%. Out of which 8% is Tier 1, 4% is Tier 2. Even under Basel III conditions, under Basel III conditions, there are under Tier 1. Core Tier 1, it is again split up into two. Tier 1 is split up into two. Number that is one equity capital, and then additional Tier 1 capital. These two. Equity capital is purely equity. That means there is no question of instrument, nothing there, and that should be minimum 5.5% under the scenario. Then that 1.5% should be from instruments under Tier 1 capital itself. And then there is Tier 2. Under Tier 2, there is only 2% restriction. That means 5.5, 1.57, 2% is Tier 2. Then for the purpose of meeting the adverse situations, counter-cyclical, and then capital conservation buffer, there is capital conservation buffer is there required, and then counter-cyclical buffer is also required for under purpose of under Basel. But under RBI specified only capital conservation buffer. They are yet to come out with counter-cyclical buffer. That means if you include the capital conservation buffer also, it will come to 11.5%. Out of which 5.5 plus 1.57% minimum should be 7% capital, Tier 1 capital, and this counter-cyclical capital conservation buffer also 2.5. That 2.5, 7.5, almost 10% should be the equity capital. Earlier, under international situations, only 2% was there. Under international situations, just around 2% they used to manage. Now they require around 10% of the Tier 1 capital. Under Indian conditions, yes, we are comfortable up to 8%, but another 2% definitely we require additional capital. That is the position actually under Indian conditions. But another thing is there is a time plan. Within next, by 2019, they are given a time frame. That means gradually they have to move over and reach to the level of 11.5%. Initially, they can start with 5% of the Tier 1 capital, and then initially actually just 4%, 4.5, 5, like that. Gradually it has to improve, and by 2019, but Reserve Bank of India prescribed about 2018 itself as the due date for Indian context. And then another thing is the total is the other the counter-cyclical buffer. Counter-cyclical buffer, Bessel said it should be 0 to 2.4%, over and above this 11.5. Over and above this 11.5, another 0 to 2.5% should be there. But RBI is yet to come out with that, and RBI argument is that we are very strong with Tier 1. Tier 1 capital is there for Indian banks. We will gradually move over to as and when the situation arises, we will move over to that answer. This is the position. So the thing is, the problem is under Indian conditions, the mobilization of the counter-cyclical buffer, the purpose of the counter-cyclical buffer, if you just add up, at present around, we are around 8%. Most of the banks, it ranges from 8 to 9%, something like that. So that means more, 1 to 2% they have to gather over a period of, I think recently, if you just see the lecture, RBI governance lecture, have you seen anybody? Recently talks on Bessel III. He has given a lecture recently, just I think 10-15 days back. He projected around 70,000 crores requirement. Okay, that is limited actually compared to the thing is he is talking about given the circumstances it can be, but thing is the problem here is government has to pay. That's the only thing is that the problem is government has to. So the market even the market perspective also is there, but limited. Basically, because suppose if you go into the market, there is limitation of that ceiling. So because of that, the government has to pay that particular. But as the business increases, your capital requirements increases. That's what. Basically, the thing is at present, most of the banks, next 2 years, I think most of the banks in Indian conditions, up to the 2015, most of the banks will be comfortable. No capital is required. Very few, one or two, maybe there. After 15 only, 15 to 18, they have to mobilize the capital. So most of the banks will go to the market at a time. That is the problem. That is the basic problem actually. Otherwise, if it is spread out, I think under Indian conditions, mobilizing capital is not that such a problem. There is the then with regards to other denominator, I am talking about all these things of the numerator. So with regards to denominator, the under Basel III, they stressed about the market risk. I think you heard about credit risk, market risk and operational risk. I told about risk-weighted assets. Under risk-weighted assets, the risk-weighted assets will be provided for meeting the requirements of market risk, credit risk and operational risk. So under market risk, he talked about they increase the higher risk weights and higher prescriptions under market risk only, basically under basis. They are not touched much about credit risk. They are not touched much about operational risk. They are not even spelled it out at all under Basel. Because all the Basel 2 document will be in toto will be applicable for Basel 3 also. Only numerator and another market risk. These are the two differences under Basel. I think I just touched the basic aspects. Any doubts, please welcome.
Any questions?
As per the OECD's report, it's like once the Basel III is implemented, it said like the GDP decreases. So, what is your opinion on that? Will the GDP decrease further?
Yes. For example, see, the thing is basically what is the top line growth and bottom line growth? What is the relationship between top line growth and bottom line growth? What is the rate of return for the top line growth and bottom line growth? That's the problem. The thing is, for example, if your total business increases by 20%, if your profit also goes by 20%, there is no problem. If the international scenario, they say, the OECD expected, OECD projected, that the 15% is the growth rate for capital, profit growth is 20% for the banks, and 20 to 25% growth in top line. So because of that, there is a gap. That's what the basically. So because of that, suppose if you meet, because there is a, even under Indian conditions also, it is correct. It ranges around 15% profit growth and 20%, average 20%. Even CAGR also around 20% growth of advances. So if you continue that growth process in the next 5 years, definitely there will be a gap. So to meet that, you require capital. So reduce the capital requirement, your growth line can come down. Suppose if you are not able to meet the capital, what will you do? Your growth will come down. So suppose if government is able to provide capital, or banks mobilize capital through the public, there is no issue. Otherwise, they will reduce growth to some extent. So instead of 20% growth of my business, I will reduce to 15% or 18% growth. Again, it depends upon economy also. At present, so what the growth of recently, I think have you heard about? Have you seen that website? What is the growth of advances now? What is the growth of advance present? YoY growth or present quarterly growth? Very limited. Now advances are not growing. The thing is that at 20% growth, there is a possibility that growth issues will come. With regards to capital issues will come. If at the present juncture, there is no issue of the capital.
So did you ever find maintaining a difficulty in maintaining the balance between the Basel norms and the RBI norms? Because presently if you see, according to RBI of CAR should be 9%, whereas Basel norms suggest it should be 8%. And
no, there is no conflict actually between the Basel and the RBI norms. There is no conflict. The only thing is RBI is a bit more careful and making it instead of 8% they made it 9%. And instead of 2019 they made it as 18. So they wanted to be preemptive. The thing is a bit early, so that any issues are there we can solve this type of things. So they are more proactive.